Dave Gilhousen here with an update on the New Orleans airport. Hey, the airport's been open about 4 months, but it's Mardi Gras time, which means a lot of heavy traffic. Some of you, many of you, will be going there to pick up, drop off people, or maybe park your car for a getaway over the Mardi Gras season. It's going to experience a lot of heavy traffic, put the airport to the test. So let's talk a little bit about the New Orleans airport. I got a bunch of tips for you, a bunch of graphics for you. So let's just get into it. First of all, yeah, we do have a working airport. I know there's been a lot of complaints about it on the in the internet from time to time. We went through there a couple weeks ago, had no problems at all, got our bags when we landed in just an incredibly fast amount of time, fastest I've ever seen at the New Orleans airport. So they did something right, okay? But so let's go through and talk about a few of the tips. One of the things that I've got for you after I get rid of the banner, which I always forget to do, is show you this. This is their website, okay? And the reason why you want to go there is because they show you the parking status, how many spaces are left in both the short-term, long-term, and surface lots, all three of them. Now, the economy lot is so big that they don't have an easy way, I think, of counting it. So you can always assume that there's space there. In fact, that's the one I highly recommend. Where could we expect the biggest backups and when? Okay, been talking to some people at the airport, and this is a map of the airport, and of course the main entrance now is off of Loyola, and that's what is going to back up. I predict definitely on Friday night getting out of here, it is going to be a mess in that particular area. Might even start on Thursday nights. And sometimes there are, it happens in the morning hours, especially when all of the lift people show up. And it tends to back up around for an hour or so, at 8 or 9 in the morning. And there have also been a few weird times. But if you're doing middle of the day during a weekday, something like that, you're not going to have any problems using this airport whatsoever. But let's talk about what you can do when you do have those backups in that particular area. One thing I highly recommend. Let's talk about picking people up at the airport or dropping them off. Yeah, you're just going to have to wade through that intersection. If you happen to be on news radio, know what the traffic is, use a traffic app like Waze, you might find that it's worth getting off at Veterans if you're coming from downtown New Orleans, about 3 or 4 exits before this, and slogging your way down Veterans to get to that intersection with Loyola. Only consider doing that if there's maybe about a 10-minute delay or so. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Once you get into that intersection and head into the airport, what I want you to do is this. Bear to the right after you get past Veterans on the Loyola entrance into the airport. There's no need to go into that traffic circle. Go for the surface lot and departure area, okay? Now, if you are going for departures, so that would be the green arrow there. What you want to avoid is the area on the airport that's got that red X in it near the long-term lot and where people pick, where there's a taxi pickup, the Lyft pickup, the Skype pickup. The terminal, by the way, is that red thumbtack-looking area in the middle. And the surface lot, I mean, this is one of the problems with the airport is the signage. You know, you kind of think you ought to follow the signs for the things that are most logical, and it doesn't always work out that way with this airport. You need a plan to do something differently depending on exactly what you're doing at that airport, okay? So it's a little different than a smaller airport or the old MSY. So back to that map again. You want to bear to the right so you don't even go in that circle. So you would be going around it. And as you go around that circle, get two things. If you're heading for the departure area to drop somebody off, you want to be going up that ramp. So you want to bear to the right, go up that ramp, and there you will find curbside check-in for a lot of the major airlines. Not everybody, but I think the Southwest, Americans, Deltas, and Uniteds, you can count on that they're going to have curbside up there for you. If not, it's just a short entrance in to the terminal on that third floor for you to go and find your way into the baggage check area. Okay, so that's pretty simple what you want to do there. If you are if you're going to pick somebody up at the airport, then what I really suggest you do is that you wind your way in on Terminal Drive there, and when you get into this area, you bear to the right and look for the surface lot. So you follow that green arrow around, but this time instead of bearing to the left, you'll bear to the right, and you will see this sign here that says surface lot. Now that doesn't really communicate much, surface lot, and not something most of us would turn into, okay? But that's where you want to go to park your car, okay? And you see here, there's a ton of empty space. And the reason why is if you look at the map, you see part of that surface lot to the right is very, very close to the baggage claim in that terminal. And they give you a half hour of free parking there in that surface lot. Now, if it's raining or the surface lot is pretty full, it's interconnected to the short-term lot. So you can wind your way over there, get into that garage, and park there. And in that half-hour time period, if your friend has landed, you should be able to go to baggage claim and help him with his stuff. And, probably not pay a dime. And even if you do run over a little bit, it's only going to run you $2. Trust me, that is worth it. That's the easy way to go. And why they didn't rename that surface lot, I don't know. But that is what you want to do for pickups of your friends coming in for the Mardi Gras season. Hey, all these tips and more are in my problem-solving airport guide to the New Orleans terminal, or something like that. And so if you haven't gotten your copy yet, please just make a note of your email. Be happy to send one to you for free. Some people wonder about this. I'm a New Orleans travel agent, trying to get my business going, like to talk travel. So that's what I'm doing. I created this. It's mine. It's unique. Contains my own insights based on my own investigation and interviewing of airport personnel down there. So hey, pleased to offer it to you just for your email. Now let's talk about the other situation, and that is, hey, you want to park your car, and for the Mardi Gras season, where do you go? What's the recommended thing? Okay, let's go back to here, this map. And this, what I'm going to suggest you do is that you avoid that Loyola area altogether. You get off as though you were going to the old terminal. And what you want to do is follow signs for the Econo Lot, okay? So you follow that airport access road, you go around that corner, the curve, you do not get on airline, and you're heading just to like where you were going to park the car, some of you before, in the parking lot in front of the old building. And when you get around the corner, it's going to look like this, okay? You'll recognize the garages ahead of you. So you kind of cut across the road and cut in between the spaces of those two P's. And when you do, you'll bear to the left, you'll see an entrance to parking. And when you get in there, it gets tricky, okay? You get your ticket for the parking. And then immediately, what you want to do is look up. Now, this is what I didn't do the other week. You got to look up into the ceiling and you'll see this small sign. Do we see a reoccurring theme here about poor signage at this airport? You'll see this really small sign that says airline baggage check-in that's tacked to the ceiling. And if you are flying with one of the major carriers, and that again is American, Delta, United, also Southwest, also Sprint, and also Alaska now, then you can go and check your bags right there in the parking lot, okay? And what you do is you got to do this type of a move. Again, look for that sign and then kind of do this broad U-turny thing in the parking lot on the first floor. And you will wind up going next to the counter where they are going to check your bags. Now, again, all the bag fees would be applicable, but if you're like me and you have airline credit cards, hey, that's part of the deal is you get a bag checked for free. So take advantage of it. You have to show up 90 minutes ahead of time to use it. It's available from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's great to be able to just unload your bags there. Of course, you need a boarding pass to show them from your phone or on a piece of paper, along with an ID. And it'll save you lugging the bags. And it also, when you get to the terminal, all you got to do is get up to the second floor and go through the TSA. So it makes it that simple to get in and do it. And am I getting this? I don't know whether you see these emails that pop up sometimes on my phone. I'm not sure sometimes what you get on this interface. But at any rate, that's what you do. And the other nice thing about that particular service is this. I didn't particularly highlight it, but if you look at this map, you'll see a little road called Bainbridge Drive, which is another entrance to the airport that you and I can't use. But that shuttle bus coming from the Econo Lot sure can use. So that's why I like them as opposed to the park and flies in the U.S. parks of the world, is because not only can they check your bag there, but they can use this side road into the airport that avoids all that congestion in that red area. And that is very important at the times when things tend to back up. Okay? So, again, all of these tips are available in my problem-solving airport guide to the New Orleans terminal. And you're welcome to a copy of it. Just send me an email and I'll get you on the list. And so that's about it, except to say I've been fairly pleased the way they've worked on improving the kinks in this airport. I think it's only going to get better. There are some people who've raised long-term maintenance issues in the airport. I'm not a building inspector, so I wouldn't know. But it's certainly a pretty airport. It works out. You do need to allow a little extra time, but it's not so bad that you want to give up the ghost. I've had some people write me and say, oh, phooey with it. I'm going to fly out of Gulfport or I'm going to fly out of Baton Rouge. Well, the trouble is you've got a much more limited selection of flights, and I don't think that that's usually needed. Though there may be times when it's hard to get a flight out of New Orleans, like Mardi Gras season. So, hey, that's it for tonight. Let me know if you got any questions or comments about the airport. I'm always interested in it. Have a good evening.